Hey guys, it's Red Shell here. Um, Wanted to show off this match from a part of this match from Splatoon Amateur Circuit the other day. Um, I feel like I played really well in this game, and especially on defense. And I wanted to show that for people who might be struggling with the same thing, because I used to struggle a lot with defense as an Octobrush player. Just didn't really know where to go or what to do. And I have IPL's perspective up right now, including Performance Labs, of the match. So I'll be watching it in spectator cam a little bit, pretty much from the other team's perspective. The set is um, Tempest, my team, versus Four Beans, and this is the finals. So was a really interesting set. Let me just make sure I have this going. Anyways, so right now, he goes up on a higher point. So the other team's trying to get a push in. Well, my team, Tempest, is blue. Four Beans is yellow. And Four Beans right now is trying to push into my Tempest base. I'm the Octobrush from Tempest. And so they're trying to find a way and just are waiting for an opportunity to push in here. So they armor and missile. And I'm currently top left. Let me get my perspective out really quickly. So I'm over. This is actually, I'll say this really quick. This is for later, kind of, where I feed in here. This is just an example of what not to do. This is right before what I show you. But I feed in, and there's just two people there. I pushed in too much. I was trying to approach too quickly. I went into their area a bit too fast, and I did essentially make them waste their booyah on me and some of their missiles, but it still didn't help that I died there. Anyways, so let's go to where I am. So I recognize that I died there. I fed in, and so I try to stay back a little bit more, and I go up on the sponge. I'm going to go back over to Twitch in a second. Actually, yeah, I just go up on the sponge, go up here, and I try to like scare off these guys. Try to play it a bit safer. I back up immediately after. Let's head back over to IPL's perspective because I like this one better. So you can see me up there. Nautilus saw me up there too. Just a second. So yeah, you can see me up here, top left. I try to be a little bit annoying. I just clicked on the wrong thing. It's like, is it here? No, it's right here. Okay, it's right here. Sorry. Anyways, so you can see him up top left, trying to just bother whoever's over on left. And this is where specials comes out. Part of the reason why I was staying back there because I recognized I died. And when I respawned, both teams were really just holding their positions. You can see how this Nautilus is playing. He did just inkjet trying to get something in. They also booyah'd. But right now, after we managed to keep those two specials back, the booyah is what killed me. Um, they are trying to hold their positions for now, waiting for an opening, and they're trying to get some more specials up, and we're trying to get our specials up and just keep them back. And so they do get their armor and missiles ready, which is what they end up using to try to push in. There comes their missiles and armor, and my team ends up using 3 of our specials in quick successions to keep them back. So we just used armor and booyah bombs. See our booyah bombs there. We did use our armor. It was hard to show though. So no, we just used armor there. You could see it if you were watching, but here comes the armor. Yeah, you can see it. So the Nautilus is trying to approach. The Booyah Bomb was actually good from Henry because it made them go through this small path or just have to back up over here. So he did end up dying there to someone, but still a good Booyah Bomb. So me and Fire are holding back over here. And right there, what I'm doing is I was just waiting. I'll show it from my perspective really quick. So since I recognized they were trying to just hold their positions until they get specials to push in, I was staying back here with Fire. You can see Henry die after he used Booyah. But I don't, instead of just rushing in there and trying to keep him back and going through the Booyah to try to maybe get a nice kill, I just go back a little bit. The mist also helps me decide, of course, but even if that mist wasn't there, I would have still went back just so I wouldn't feed in. We get our armor, and the Nautilus tries to approach there a little bit, but the bubble and just me flicking at him scares him away, which you can really see. I look really scary from this perspective, I think. Um, did I really click something wrong again? Okay, we're back on it again. Anyways, so the Nautilus tries to approach. He sees me shooting at him, so he backs up immediately. But because of the tick damage, all our bombs and our bubbles and my shots did to him, he ends up going down to a bomb right here from Fire, which was really helpful. So anyways, Fire ends up going down here to the Zap. They Booyah bomb him too. It's just me and Drift. Drift was pushing in with his bubbles, and he's actually going to be able to get a pick on their Jet Sculpture down here. And so now Drift is over here, and I'm here, which means we pretty much have this area to go through. The Zap I see is over on left. He was the guy that just killed Fire, our junior player. So I decide, I think Drift is doing fine by himself over there for now. And he's fighting a Nautilus current. No, he wasn't. He was fighting a 52 currently. And I might have been able to help with that, but I'm just not sure. I really just wanted to make sure this Zap one tried to go back around. If I went right to try to help Drift, I wanted to make sure the Zap wasn't going to like be behind me then and try to like pincer us. And I also wanted to just make sure that we were able to just push him back. So like, yeah, I see he goes back. Then I go back around to help Drift to make sure that that Zap isn't rushing him, which he isn't. So I decided to go back. And right now, what I'm really just trying to do is just make sure we can still hold this area. We still don't. I recognize we still don't really have map control, even though we have been able to push them back a little bit. They are still. They still might be able to get a push if I feed in. So I'm playing a little bit more safe still, and end up coming over here. See the Jet Sculpture. There's no one over here really right now. So I show myself to the Jet Sculpture, so he knows not to really try to drop over here in this area. It's called the drop. Don't drop in the drop. Anyways, so I make sure he doesn't want to go over here, which really just gives us this area for a few seconds. And all my teammates are over here, so they're doing good doing what they're doing. I really don't need help from them right now, just because there's no one really over at me. Well, I'm think this is the best play I could have made. I could have maybe went over and helped them. I'm still not sure, but even if it wasn't the best play I could have made, it still ended up working out really well, which is why I'm showing this. Mainly because I just stay alive and I'm able to help my teammates keep them back. So anyways, when I was communicating with my teammates, I didn't actually call out where these two guys were, which ended up hurting us here. I only called them out once they armored here, which you can see them armor there, and I end up not calling it out, so Drift is stuck in their paint and ends up dying, which is kind of sad. But so that hurt us a little, but it wasn't too bad. But what I do here, when they armor, I recognize there's two guys over here now. I show myself again just so they know I'm still over here. You still don't want to come this way. And I don't want them to just feel free to rush me, you know? Like, it's not, I don't want them to just, both Jet Sculpture and Zaps just rush right through their drop and be able to get to this line over here, be able to force their way through this area. So I still want them to feel a little bit pressured over here. which they still end up being able to push very quickly. But that was my thought process through it, and it seems to help out, I think, a little bit, especially if I just don't die there. Anyways, so we end up giving them their art drop, I think, or at least Henry's still over there contesting it, and I think the Nautilus inkjets really shortly. And right now, I'm really just waiting for something to happen. They took left drop, but they already used one of their specials to do that. So I'm really just want to wait for a good opportunity to use my own stamp since I'm holding that right now. I don't want to die because I have stamp at ready. And I just need to make sure they can't push. I need to make sure that my teammates can stay alive too, which is why it sucks that Drifty T died there so much. But I need to make sure my teammates can get their specials so we can combo it with my own special to be able to push back in. So anyways, right here you can see Jet Squelcher sees me. I have to go back around. I go behind this pillow because I was planning to shark there, and I just threw a bomb, so I throw the bomb over there. I do that just mainly to make sure they can't feel a bit more pressured to push from over there. But the Jet Squelcher actually ends up using their missiles right now, and I'm a little worried about it because they also have their inkjet ready, so I figured they're going to try to push with those two specials. So right here, Fire uses armor because he recognizes the Jet Squelcher uses missiles, which is really good on his end. And since me and Henry are missiled, I try to get away from him so he doesn't get trapped within my missiles. And by doing that, I also recognize an opportunity that I can use Stamp to push these two guys. So this is a little weird, in my opinion, because I don't do it often. Well, I do. I do it a lot. I do it a lot, but I don't do it this risky often, I guess. But Stamp can be used very well to be able to just pressure the other team backwards, because if they see a Stamp barreling towards them, they're not actually going to want to go towards it, so they're going to try to go the other way. And since they just used missiles and they were planning to push through that, I think right after, let me show, he doesn't use Inkjet there. I don't know when exactly that Nautilus uses Inkjet, but he uses it somewhat soon. Anyways, so I decide to just rush them pretty much with Stamp because I have armor now, and by rushing, I figured the Jet Squelcher and Zap would be trying to push in, and I was correct on that. So because they were too close, the Zap was definitely too close to me at the time, so he had to just back up. He couldn't like try to shoot at me to keep me back, because if you look, the Zap's up here, he has the power clamp, and he drops from there trying to get Henry. And because of that, because he dropped there, he was way too close to my Stamp to be able to do anything against me and was forced to back up. If he's just like holding back where if he was over where the Jet Squelcher was and was just trying to hold mid with him, they might have been able to shoot me through the Stamp enough to kill me, even though I had armor, which would have made it a bit more risky to play this. I think it still would have worked, but I would have definitely taken a bit more damage at the very least. So then, because I don't want to go too far into their spawn, I just turn left with Stamp to go to their drop, because if you remember just a little bit ago, they just took their drop from me using their armor. So what I did here with my Stamp is not only did I make them essentially waste their missiles, because they missiled me and Henry, and neither of us were really affected by it as far as I'm aware. I definitely wasn't. By using our Stamp and armor, I was able to force the Zap and Jet Sculpture back to their zone, essentially, and keep myself alive to be able to take their drop again, which they just used armor to get. So now, the position that I'm in is really good. I'm able to be over here. The other team is, as of right now, I know there's 3 people on right. I'm not sure where the 52 is because the Nautilus is over on our drop contesting that. He did just recently inkjet. you can see it when I'm stamping, he uses it, which means that's where Enry goes. So I think Enry actually dies to that inkjet eventually, but he is able to hold it back for a good while, which ends up helping out too a lot. So yeah, he just used inkjet right there, right at this second. So now we have their drop, and my team's still, some of my teammates are still back there, and they actually call out that there's a 52 on their drop still. And I am getting ready to throw my stamp. I always throw my stamp around this time. Since I've played stamp for long enough, I kind of know when my stamp is about to run out, especially with the visible, like if the stamp starts blinking almost essentially, and it shows me when it's almost ready to run out. So I start to get ready to throw my stamp, and I'm planning to throw it over here. But because my teammates show me where the 52 is, or tell me where he is, we're actually able to pincer him essentially. He wasn't really able to back up very well, I'm sure, before when I was stamping over here. I'm not exactly sure what he was doing because we never really get a good view of it. But he was for sure trying to hold that area to be able to push with his teammates later on. But we end up just shutting him down because he's pincered over here and my stamp just ends up killing him. And it was really good job on Fire for keeping him back. I don't know if anyone else was helping him there. But because of that, the Zap pushes in. I'm assuming he pushes in because they just used most of their specials. They might be getting a little desperate right now, but I'm not sure. I can't know what they're thinking. And the 52 just went down. Um, but I think the Zap was approaching before the 52 went down, so he was kind of committed to it. He thought the 52 was in a good spot, which he was, but then I was able to pincer him with my stamp. So now we take their drop, and they only have our drop and through zones in mid to be able to push. So Zap tries to go through. He's by himself right now, and he can't do anything. Another reason why he's by himself is because the Nautilus was just inkjetting, and it's about to run out. The Nautilus did just recently get the pick on our 52, but I recognize his inkjet's about to run out, and that we need help over on drop, our drop. So I come over here. I see that the inkjet recall. I'm able to get this pick right here, which helps out a ton, forcing the other team back. If you saw earlier, I didn't point it out, but right here after the Zap dies, Drift actually goes down to the Jet Sculpture, which is a good pick on the Jet's part. But it's not good enough because we still have myself and Fire alive, our junior. So I'm just able to rush this Jet Sculpture back, and he's not able to do anything against me. He's going to be forced back into their useless. And we're actually going to be able to score here again. And I guess mainly stall a little bit. We essentially, what we did there was we forced them, like, this was just their push. We forced them to stop their push. So here we pretty much, okay, so we stopped their push. Then we forced them back into their spawn because three of them die, and the Jet Squelchers and they're useless now. And then me and Fire are able to just take their backs immediately, which maybe we could have stalled it a little bit, but I think I'm not exactly sure. Stalled like mid for my other teammates to get back. But at the time we were just pushing, and it was still a good play in the end. We were able to get a power clam and another clam in. I ended up trading the Zap. Fire dies the 52, but now since I traded the Zap, it's a 2v3, which still puts us at a disadvantage, but not nearly as big as a disadvantage as that we were just at a little bit ago. And they have two teammates in their backs and only one in, I think in their, yeah, the other one's right here. So they're positioned pretty much where we were just defending, where Tempest, my team, was just defending. So that was a huge turnaround just in general. I'll go through the clip once again of the areas I want to highlight for just how well I thought this went. So first, I just make sure I can stay alive, keep my teammates alive, force the Nautilus back with my shots because he's not expecting it. Then Drift bubbles, he's able to force the guys back out here so they can't push as much, and I keep the other guy that's still on the left just back from our goal because Drift is cleaning up the other guys quite nicely. I wait and I wait and pretty much I'm just not. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything here, but I'm just waiting to make sure the other team isn't pushing from left or flanking my teammates from left. And I'm making sure I can stay alive to be able to hold my special so I can use it at a good time to potentially stall their push or something. Um, I messed up my callouts there, but you know. Then I'm just waiting again for a good time to push, waiting for them to push so I can counter stamp. We armor and stamp as soon as they missile, just to try to keep them back. Now they've used 2 of their specials already, armor and missiles. And now they use inkjet. I kill the 52 with the stamp. Henry goes down shortly, but their zap also goes down. And because of the inkjet recall, I'm actually able to get the pick on the Nautilus, and we're able to just force them back in just a matter of like 20, 30 seconds. Which I'm just really happy how well I played there. Because there were so many opportunities. I want to here, I'll go back and point out again. Point out the opportunities that I had to just feed in there. So this is so let's go back a little bit farther. I could push right here, feed into that zap, but I didn't. I kind of tried to, but I recognized it and turned back around. Kind of, oh yeah. I could just rush him right here, but I don't. I stay smart and just go stay back here. I could go right and help drift, but that would give them left, which I personally don't think was that good of an idea. I could just rush the jet squelcher, but that would mean I would have I could have rushed the jet squelcher a few different ways actually. I could have went into their zone. So like, see, I have enough paint from here, but I recognize we don't have any paint out here, it looks like. And the jet squelcher's watching over here, and I know the Nautilus is on right. So if I go out here, I could be pincered really easily. So I could have went their zone just to try to rush them and try to annoy them, but that would have been bad because I probably would have died. I could have jumped from after I saw the jet squelcher drop. I think he drops here. Yeah, he drops there. I could have immediately went to this conveyor and pushed up here. I don't think that would have been good either because the zap is off respawn top left, and the jet squelcher would have still been looking at me. And then because of that, I'm still alive too now. I still have my stamp, and then because of that, I keep saying because of that, but you know, but next I'm able to use my stamp to combo with armor since I've stayed alive this entire time. I can't pause it anymore because of an ad that started. But because we comboed our stamp and armor, we were able to take down the 52, take our drop back, force the zap back. Well, no, kill the zap after he tries to push with his 52, get the inkjet recall, and end up scoring and pushing the jet squelcher the whole way back. So, can I actually, yeah, I can actually do this stuff. The ad stopped. I don't know why, but ads have been glitching on my Twitch recently. I could have fed him with my stamp right there. I could have went right, which I don't think was a good idea because Nautilus was waiting there. There have been 3 people waiting for me. Another thing you want to watch out with stamp is if the other team has a good sight line on you. So because I went behind this pillow, they couldn't actually shoot me, which ended up being really good for me because I had enough time to get back behind here. But if I went right there, if I went right instead of left, or even if I just stalled a little bit to go in front of the pillow to go left, I wouldn't have had enough time to get behind cover. So then they would have just been able to shoot me, especially that jet squelcher, and kill me there really easily. So like if I was over here, I would have died. If I was a little bit to the right, I would have died. If I just tried to rush them back continuously, I would have died. But instead I go left and just am I able to stay alive over here and then end up helping my teammates with the 52 and zap. And then eventually the Nautilus. So I'm really happy with how I played here. I hope this helped people understand what you're going to want to do as a Octobrush on defense. You really just want to make sure you can stay alive to help your team either get picks, not get killed from the other team, or just recognize areas in which you can stall the other team from, you know, scoring or whatever. I hope I explained this good enough. I think I did a decent job at it. But yeah, guess that's going to be it for this little video. Hope you all enjoyed it, and Red Shell out.